Good morning. Welcome to my dining room slash classroom. Okay, so today we are going to, this is just going to be your introductory video to the quadratic formula. And if you remember, I promised no more than 15 minutes. So you're going to have two videos that you need to watch. This is video one, okay? And then you'll have video two. And then you guys will have your normal worksheet. It has 12 problems and I'm going to do 6. So today I'll probably do 2 or 3. The next video that you watch, I'll do 2 or 3 more. So either get a sheet of paper or you can watch this video on your phone and write on Canvas on your iPad, whatever's going to work for you, and you can copy down the first 6. So the first half of your worksheet will be done, and then day 3 you will do the last 3 problems. If you did not set your stuff up on Shobi, or not Shobi, but Remind, or you need help submitting on Canvas, I will submit on Shobi just a link and everything to my YouTube channel to Remind, so you can do that. And if you need some help submitting on Canvas, obviously the best way is going to be to get a hold of me is through Remind. So if you need help, look on Shobi, and that will have some step-by-step directions on how to get through Remind. Okay, so with the quadratic formula, this is a basic quadratic, and we've all done this already, this part before. Ax squared plus bx plus c, where the a, b, and c are going to be a number. Okay, so if there's nothing out in front of the a, no symbol like a plus or a minus, it's just considered a positive. Okay, so and before we did all this, we drew our 2 parentheses and we found some factors of the first number, and we said, okay, well, we have 2 x's, so we filled those in. Well, sometimes the reason that we have to use a quadratic formula is because you can't factor it in the normal way that you would. Okay, so we have this formula that we can use, and this is what the formula looks like, and I'm going to tweak it for you a little bit. So you got negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And I know that seems like a lot. Make sure that you have either using your calculator on your iPad or on your phone. But what I want to tweak here is going to be, and this is probably the most important thing because people screw it up, okay, is using parentheses. Everywhere there's a letter, you're going to be using parentheses because that's just a reminder to times, okay? And you guys know me, the best way to just jump in. So if you're looking at your quadratic formula worksheet that I gave you, you'll find this under the day 3 or whatever, okay? And remember, you're just going to be writing on Canvas, so you can write as you go if you're multitasking, or write them on a piece of paper and then copy it down on your worksheet. So the very first problem that we have, number 1, says x squared plus 8x plus 15 equals 0. Okay, so that's our first problem for our number 1. Now, you guys should all know how to do this, but we're going to make sure that we know what A, B, and C is. Okay, so if we're looking at this problem, we can tell that our A, our B, and our C, and I want you to be thinking about this kind of while I'm doing it, but our A is going to be 1. Okay, so our A is 1, and our B is 8, and our C is 15. Okay, and so now it's just a matter of plugging this stuff in. So we got our little formula here, so we're going to say, and I'm going to write it all over here so we can kind of look up at what we're doing. So we got negative, our B is 8, plus or minus, and we'll get into what this plus or minus means, the square root of b squared, and our b again is 8. I'm just following and plugging in. We're going to close our parentheses. We got a squared minus 4. Our a is 1, so I'm following the formula. Our c is 15. And it's all over, okay, 2, and our a again is 1. Okay, and then just piece by piece, it's all it is multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. Okay, so you guys should all be able to do this. So negative, and it's really times, but So you got negative, so you're going to get negative 8 plus or minus 8 squared. So squared we already talked about, but 8 times 8, that's going to give you 64 minus, now this you can all just type in on your calculator. If you're going to just type it all in your calculator, you're typing in this, just this whole piece. So it's really going to be negative 4, and I'll write it over here, times 1 times 15. So if you just want to type it on a calculator, that's fine, but make sure that minus, that negative sign goes with the rest of the equation, okay? So, and it's just going to end up being 60. All over 2 times 1, so 2. Okay, and so we can start to simplify. So what part can we simplify? Okay, well this is already done, so we're going to leave that, plus or minus 64 minus 60 is going to give us 4 over 2. Okay, and eventually you can skip some steps, okay, so I'm going baby steps. So then we're going to say, well, what else can we simplify? So what is a square root of 4? Well, 8, and it's going to be plus or minus 2. Now, here's where some of you guys are going to screw it up, and you're like, what the heck is going on? So I took a square root, okay, and really a square root means you could rewrite 4 as 2 squared, and you guys know what numbers out here, and I know there's going to be a mixed thoughts going through your head, okay? So some people are going to say 1, some people are going to say 2. So in this case, over here, if there's nothing there, it's always a 1. Okay, but with a square root, we know that the number is 2. And what happens here is these all cancel, okay? So this 2 cancels this 2, and it cancels this little house, so you're just left with 2. So make sure that you don't put the square root down here because we've already done that operation, okay? So now, we've got it as simplified as we possibly can as of right now. So you're going to, this part, it's going to give you 2 equations, and it's going to be negative 8 plus 2 over 2, and then we've used the plus, but we have not used the minus yet. So you're going to say, and you can just draw a little and, because all these you should have 2 answers. So you got negative 8 minus 2 over 2. Okay, so negative 8 plus 2 is going to give you a negative 6 over 2. Okay, and then you got negative 8 minus 2 is going to give you negative 10 over 2. And negative 6 over 2, okay, we know that that fraction bar just means divide. So you got negative 6 divided by 2 is going to be negative 3. And then negative 10 divided by 2, or negative 10 over 2, is going to be negative 5. Okay, and this part is your answer. And I know that it seems like a lot of steps, okay? It's not that bad, but I wanted to make sure on day 1 that I'm showing you step by step, every single step that we're doing, okay? And then I'm going to erase this, and we're going to start on the second one, okay? So, overall, make sure that you're using these parentheses where they go, okay? Even though the actual formula does not have parentheses. So if you would Google the quadratic formula, it's not going to have these parentheses. But to me, it helps you to remember that your times and everything, okay? Okay, so number 2. Number 2 says negative n squared minus 2n plus 63 equals 0. Okay, so same thing. We need to identify what is our A, what is our B, what is our C. Okay, so I want you to think just a second while I'm writing these down. And you don't really need to write this. However, I am going to tell you, when you're doing your worksheet, you better show me your work. Okay, don't be trying to cheat on photo math because I'm able to tell. You can't get past nobody. Okay, so C, so our A is going to be negative 1 because there's a negative out there. Our B is going to be negative 2, and our C is going to be 63. Okay, so we're just going to plug in the stuff where it goes. So you got negative, and our B is negative 2, and this is why we use parentheses, because when you have a negative, make sure that you're doing what you're supposed to be. Now we got plus or minus a square root of b squared. So you got negative 2 squared minus 4 times a, and has negative 1, times our c is 63. All over 2 times our a. Okay, so minus minus is going to give us a plus 2. Okay, so it's just going to be 2 plus or minus. We got 2 squared, or negative 2 squared, so negative 2 times negative 2. Well, we know that a negative times a negative is a positive. So you're going to have 4 minus, well, we don't know if it's a minus. Okay, and you can type in all this on your calculator. Type in negative 4 times negative 1 times 63. And you're going to get, it's going to be a positive 252. On your calculator, it's just going to say 252. Okay, and if there's not a negative, we know it's a plus. So you're going to say plus 252 over, and then we got 2 times negative 1 is going to mean negative 2. Okay, well, what can we simplify? We can simplify this under here. So you're going to have 2 plus or minus the square root of 256 over negative 2. Okay, and I want to show you guys, because a lot of you guys are going to be using your phone as a calculator. So on our calculator, you're going to say 256, and I'm going to try to get as close as I can to the camera. Okay, and if you have an iPhone and a lot of calculators, you're going to have to turn it sideways. And there's this little button, and it has a 2 and a square root and an x. Okay, we want to use the 2 one. So you're going to say, and it square roots it, and so you're just left with 16. Okay, so you got 2 plus or minus 16 over 2. Okay, once you get it down to the step where it's just all numbers, okay, you can write your equation twice. So it's going to be 2 plus 16 over 2 and 2 minus 16 over 2. Okay, so 2 plus 16 is going to be 18 over 2, and we got 2 minus 16 is going to give you negative 14 over 2. And we know that fraction means divide, so you got 18 divided by 2 is going to give you 9. And negative 14 divided by 2 is going to give you negative 7. Okay, so hopefully that wasn't too bad. Okay, we got 2 out of our 12 done on our worksheet. The next video that you watch is going to be video 2. And I will do number 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, and you'll have 6 to do. So if you're kind of lost, you can look up YouTube videos, get a hold of me. Just keep copying me for the first 4, okay, and try to think a little bit ahead, like, okay, well, this is what I should do next, or feel free to pause the video and catch yourself up, okay? And I will see you guys on my next video.